Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Doby, and today, I have the pleasure of having Julius J. Erving. He is the founder and CEO of Human Resources, which is a hell of a little independent, not little. Let me not do that. It's an independent label making major moves and having a major impact, so much that one young lion decided I'm going to go with them as an independent as opposed to going with major branded labels. So welcome and thank you so much for being with us today, man.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well. So founder and CEO, Human Resources, you're creative developer, vice president for creative development at Sony Music Entertainment, executive vice president at The Orchard. A lot of hats that you wear. You've been impactful in a lot of different artists' lives and giving them opportunity. So from the inside looking out, tell me about Jay Erving.
From the inside looking out, that's a really good question. I think it's I try to be really self-aware, right? And kind of and I think the from the inside out where I'm at currently in my life is I feel competitive. I feel motivated. I feel charged. I feel excited about where the music business is at. I feel like as a distributor, I've been a distributor now for 4 years, and have had some really good base hits, but haven't really had a home run yet, and that drives me. I look around at some of the other distribution companies, and still some of them are friends and acquaintances, and have a lot of respect for a lot of those companies, but I also want to eat their lunch, and I feel like there's I'd like to think that I now have my master's in distribution with services, given starting my distribution company with the couple of pennies I could rub together out of my pocket, and then ultimately selling the business to Sony and partnering with them, and still being given the autonomy to focus on doing the kinds of deals that we're doing, and setting up our partners to have ownership and a real kind of stake in the business that they're respectively building.
Okay. Excuse me. You probably answered my question. I was going to ask you the why you do what you do, and the answer that you're giving people opportunities kind of answered it. If you wanted to add to it, that'd be
yeah. I think to take it a bit back a step is like I do it for my children, and try to be a role model for my kids, and I also do it for the young people that are part of my team. Like I think we've Sony and the Orchard have given me the ability to to bring a lot of my team on and also hire hire additional folks as a part of my team, which is given and I'm focused on young executives of color. I actually changed it from because it was people of color for a while, and last week I was in a meeting, and it just came out. I said people of culture, and it to me is like that's really what is our team is about. It's young people that are in and of the culture, and I'm not necessarily hiring people because of what their resume says or they went to such and such school music program or had some of these people that are going to be the best for what we're looking to do is people that are just in and of the culture, that are hungry, that are willing to do what it takes to break artists, and really seeing things through a very different and young lens, right? Which is what I need. I need to, in order for me to stay connected with the youth and the culture and kind of where it's at currently, I got to have young people around me. And I'm a 48-year-old guy that lives in Calabasas with 3 grown kids, so I'm not in the streets like I used to be. And I want people to look at our team and the model and say, you know, young people of culture can actually have a high level of success, and give more people, young people of color and culture, the opportunity to have, to be hired, to get jobs, to have, what I call options. It's I'm very, I learned very late in my career how important it is to have options. When Troy and I shut down our management company, I didn't have any options. Troy had every option to, run every label, to, and ended up going to Spotify. I was forced back into being an entrepreneur, and not by choice, but because it was, um, I didn't have those options, and it's I want people that work with me and anybody that I can kind of have an impact on to have real options. If they want to go the entrepreneurial route, they can. If they want to, have options to have jobs at different, companies in and around music, they can. But having options is something that's super important in my opinion. So I do it for my team. I do it for my family. I try to be a servant leader, and here in service of my team, and ultimately looking to, put artists and young managers and executives in a position where they feel like, they're owning their businesses, and which is how it should be. And it's these young people are so smart and so savvy, and they're just, I love the energy and the fact that they're so bullish about being able to feeling like they can do it and bet on themselves, and be able to take it all the way. Excuse me. So my job is to, and why I'm here is to help give tools where I can for folks to young artists and young executives to have success.
It sounds like you've been an entrepreneur all the way from a young age, in one aspect or another. Was there a defining moment for you that brought you to the music world, to the music business world?
Desperation, probably. I think it was, when I was coming out of college, I kind of knew what I couldn't do. I didn't have the ability to do a 9 to 5 type job. Like I get bored very easily. I was never the book smart guy. I like it was school was never really my thing. And had a friend, a guy named Charles Suit, who was working at Universal, and he kind of pushed me into management, and basically was told me that management was a really good way to learn everything about the music business, because you are you're the A&R at times, you're the lawyer at times, you're the therapist at times, you have to deal with the labels, you have to deal with touring, you have to deal with making the album, and he felt like that was a good way for me to understand and learn every aspect of the music business, to see where ultimately I wanted to fit. And I got blessed early to get some good, really big clients out the gate, and did management for over 20 years.
Wow, 20 years. And then so you're bringing all those experiences and seeing the business from all different angles, and employing those experiences with human resources, and kind of laying it out. So you've already got the plan. All they need to do is follow the plan. And
well, all I need to do is help them execute on their plan, right? Like I think I have, I try to I try to learn from some of the things that I felt like I wanted our distribution company to do differently than other distribution companies, and certain things that I saw at frontline labels that I wanted to do differently. And it's, again, is like, if we're trusting, if we're feeling passionately, and I'm trusting the young people around around me, my job is to help execute, right? I think the one thing that I did pull from being a manager is like that DNA, right? Like we're managers are like we always say artists are wired differently. Like managers are wired pretty differently too, right? You know, the ones that are really in it, and you know, it's a full-time job. You know, you got to sacrifice a lot. You're gonna sacrifice birthdays and weddings and time with family and and all of those things. And it's we don't we're not able to close our computers at 6 o'clock. We don't get nights and weekends off. And that's one of the things that I'd like to instill in my distribution company is really being there, being shoulder to shoulder with the artists. We're signing a lot of new acts. Like we had a team meeting several months ago, and one of our teammates was talking about the fact that an artist was starting their tour that day. And I'm like, well, why the fuck are you here? You should be there. If you have an artist that you're working, that you sign, that you're helping develop, and they're starting a tour today, you should be there. It's like it, and I don't give a fuck if they're performing to 13 people or 13,000 people. You should be there. They should see you. They should feel you. You should be able to give them notes. You should be able to, see those songs that people reacted to that we should be leaning into. But they should feel you. They should feel your presence. Showing up is 99% of it, and it might not be anything for you to do, technically or but you should be there. They should feel you. And that's what I like to instill in the team that I learned from being a manager is artists don't really forget. They know, they recognize who was there in the beginning as you were building it. Or at least we'd like to think that they remember. But it's important. That's an important piece of what we're building, and what I've learned from being a manager, and what I think can differentiate us from other distribution companies is the fact that our partners really feel like they have real, true partners that are in it with them. And when there's bumps in the road, we're gonna go through it together. We're not gonna have them feel like they have to deal with it on their own.
Okay. Well, that philosophy is obviously working. You've done the show improve kind of thing, and so you've got this new young line, Kelz, who made a choice between major labels, the machines, and the more personal aspect of dealing with human resources and your team. How did that feel, and when he made that decision?
I mean, it feels great. It feels like it's one of those like moments of feeling like what I thought about 4 or 5 years ago is really starting to happen. When you have kids that are, and I mean kids in the most respectful way, right? Like young people that are as savvy and focused and clear about what they want to do as Kelz and his manager E are. Like it's just so refreshing to see. Like it takes guts to walk away from what they were being offered to really bet on themselves and really be banking on ownership and doing it independently. It takes guts, because it's you're walking away from money, you're walking away from these establishments that have been around for 100 years and are really good at what they do. So it's a gamble that you have to respect, and it's when I sat with them, it was and there's another young guy, Dylan, who works with us, and who's now an A&R with the Orchard, is like sitting with these guys, like, and just watching and learning from them, learning how much they've thought about what it is that they want to do and how clear they are with their vision. Like I was just super impressed, and I was just like, look however, whatever I need to do and however I can be in the Kelz business, I want to be in.
Okay. Did they discuss with you maybe a deciding point, a deciding factor that made them choose human resources over the other deals?
Not particularly. I think that E, the manager, and I have really connected. He we're learning from each other, and I think a lot of what he's dealing with, I've had some experience in kind of in management and kind of what he's building, and I'm learning a lot from him in terms of like, how the lens in which young people are seeing the business through, and how much he's educated himself. Kelz is, you know, Kelz has got more, proper education than I've ever had, and like in terms of his schooling, and has and could just as easily, be a superstar in the financial and business world as he is going to be in the music space. So you're dealing with very, very, very smart people, and it's so impressive when you see the combination. It's impressive and powerful when you see an artist like Kelz who's got he's got all like, because information is power, right? And I can't go in the studio and do what he does, in writing music, producing music, but on the flip side of that, he understands the business as much as anybody else. And when you have that combination of smart and talented, and educated, it's a powerful, powerful combination. So I'm excited to be a part of it, and excited to see what those guys are able to do, in the coming years, because it's like they got now and they got next. Is their turn. Both as executives and as artists. So it's just gonna be fun to watch, and be the old guy that's able to just kind of tag along and give some guidance where I can.
I got a chance to look at a couple of his videos, and dude is amazing. His sound is amazing. Sounds like he's been doing it for 20 years, like he had some Gamble and Huff people, I mean, in his sessions with him. I was like pretty amazing. And obviously, stalwarts like Pharrell and Jack Harlow got behind him. Drake is wild, and he could have probably gone anywhere, like you said. But he saw that your expertise and the Orchard's global reach would be the best way for him to go. I have to ask you though, as you navigated the maze and really came into the music, what was the most surprising part for you about the business aspect of the music business?
I guess there was a couple of things that really surprised me. I think the one thing that was surprising was that there's no real blueprint to it, right? Like you, as someone who, when I lean into something, I want to do it on the highest level, right? Me and Troy Carter, who's my partner for over 20 years and one of my best friends, it's like we joke, and he takes everything too far. I take some things too far, but it's like just not being able to do shit, right? Like, he, it's like any little thing that he's gonna lean into, he's just gonna do it he's gonna overdo it, right? And when you start to think about music and the business of music, it's really experiential. You're not able to like just go read a book and say, the book is going to say, when you meet Kelz and you meet E, this is what you do, this is what you say, this is what advice you give them, this is what this is what you're going to do first when you make a record, this is how you make a record. This is like, there's no book to read. So we're doing deep dives. I'm studying people that came before us. I'm studying the folks that that I looked up to, L.A. Reid and you know the Gamble and Huff guys, the Philly guys, growing up in, my best friend's mom is Patti LaBelle, and being around that and being able to meet Al Heyman and some of those guys, and then my friends became my role models. It's like my close friend group became my role models. And we happen to be Philly guys, but they became my role models. Troy became my role model. Sean G became my role model. Like Ryan Press, Sterling Sims, those guys became my, and those guys, are younger than me, Sterling and Ryan, but they became my role models when I watched what they do, and I watched how, accomplished they became, and the things that they kind of did to in having success, right? And being some of the best in the game. And so I've been blessed to watch my friends and be motivated by my friends who, I can, call 10 times a day and go to their house, and our kids are, hang together, and so it became, kind of studying and watching mentors that I had seen do it kind of before us, and then I was blessed to have my network become what motivates me and what pushes me and keeps me, on my A game.
Okay. It takes a lot of intestinal fortitude to step out the way that you did. You said it was desperation, but I don't believe in desperation. I just believe that God's throwing an opportunity in front of you to excel and employ your ingenuity.
See, that's why I can learn from you how to put my words together. That sounds way better than desperation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's spot on though. God gives you these opportunities, and then we got to go figure out how to navigate it and work hard for it.
Yeah, like we mentioned, we were talking off air. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. Retiring from the military, I didn't know what my next phase was, and this dropped in my lap. The opportunity just came on a humbug, and I'm like, "You like my writing? Okay, right. Great." So this was the opportunity. I'm like, at the time, of course, the government is paying me to take my ball to go home. They said, "You're broken, and we're done with you. Here, take this and go." I'm like, "I don't need your money. I need the opportunity." Yeah. And the opportunity to develop. And here I am 10 years later, getting the opportunity to speak with someone like yourself. I mean, I've talked to Aretha Franklin and all those people, but for me, the fun part and satisfying part is to get to talk to people who develop like labels and movie houses and things from scratch, basically, in moments when opportunities presented themselves to excel and apply everything that they have learned, and to see it come to fruition. And here you are, with human resources now folded into the orchard, and providing opportunities for other people to feed their families. That's like the most satisfying thing for me is to meet people like yourself. What is the most satisfying thing for you in being in your position?
It goes back to network. I think I've talked to, one of my good friends about success and what success looks like. And, there's times in your life where you think it's about money or about certain accolades or about, people's perception of you, like it's kind of, I felt like I've gone through these phases of what success is and looks like and feels like. And but I realized it's like, or where I'm at this week anyway, is having the ability to kind of execute on whatever you think about feels like success, and the fact that I can do that primarily inside of my friend group feels even more like success. To do it with people that I love and that I care about and that give me the love back. that feels like success when I can look around and my closest friends are operating on the highest level, and and we all, and the unit that we've built, that feels like success to me. When I watch, my, like I said, my young homies, Ryan and Sterling, kind of grow and surpass where I'm at, that feels like success to me. When I watch my friends, build businesses, like, Sean's building Live Nation Urban, and what Troy's building at Venice, after all of the success that he's had throughout his career, like, that feels like success to me when I watch my friends do those kinds of things. And I think ultimately is like being someone that my kids could be proud of is probably the biggest win, and they look and they can say, that's my dad, and I'm, proud of, I feel proud to say that, that's my dad, and it's like those things are proud moments as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm a father of 6, grandfather of 15, 16 actually. And
Wow.
so I've always wanted to have those moments or things that I've done to leave a legacy that makes me immortal in their minds by saying he was great at this, or he took me camping, or just anything, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And gave them opportunities. I'm not leaving them a penny. I'm gonna
Right.
leave them a way to make it on their own. You know what I
There
mean?
you go. That's all they
So
can ask for.
um couple more questions and I'll let you go. Now you're a
My
busy
kids
man.
get some pennies from me, though. That's for sure.
Well, they're gonna get some, they'll get some, but I told them, look, you ain't got money, we got money. Me and your
Right.
mother of
Right.
20 years, we got money. You're here and you have to learn to make it on your own and stand on your own. I think one of the things that, in the age of babies raising babies that we live in now is that people have forgotten how to get out and grind. And so when you see a young man like Kelz out there grinding and thinking and putting in the work, that's something that stands out for me. I'm going to be following this young guy and make sure that the hype supports. So anytime you want to reach out or have your team reach out, anything that the human resources has going on, I would definitely love to get behind that editorially. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that, man. We need, we all need each other in this. It's like if we're gonna build this thing out independently, and we're gonna have success, and artists are gonna have success from an independent perspective. We all gotta pull together and support each other. And we gotta support Hype where we can, and Hype needs, supports us where they can, and I think that's where the real win happens for everybody.
I appreciate you. Brother, is there anything that you wanted to cover I may have neglected?
I don't think so. It's really, I think this conversation was about Kells, and I think I can't stress enough how, you know, um, how proud I am of those guys, and just being able to watch it and watch their courage, and how they're moving, and how smart I feel like it is. And I feel responsibility to help get this right. They took a gamble on us, and I'm not going to let them down. And I'm going to do everything that I said I was going to do, and I'm going to do everything in my power to take this all away, because they bet on us, and we got to show up and give it back.
Okay. Kelz is a dynamic young artist that chose to sign with Human Resources, which is a part of the Orchard, and he just dropped his latest video for Why last week. Amazing young talent, somebody that I think we're going to be talking about for years to come. I think we'll be talking about Human Resources, the same way that we talk about Swisher House, the same way that we talk about Rap a Lot, same way we talk about uh, Bad Boy as they came up, you know what I mean? 10, 20 years. Hopefully I'm around still. Maybe I'll be writing, maybe I won't, but I'll be sitting on the sidelines at least enjoying watching and saying, I told that story way back when, and I
Yeah.
knew it was going to happen. So I'm owning it. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you, and keep us in touch. And until then, you know, the Hype Magazine live sessions. We out.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.